call to order the meeting of the Oversight Committee for the date of November the 4th. And I want to welcome everybody up here to it. May we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Board members Abkarian? Here. Barry?
Here.
McIntyre? Nakasone?
Here.
Ochoa? Here. Steger? And Chair Raggio.
Here. May I have an approval of the minutes?
Before we move to that, Mr. Chair, if I may read in the report, the agenda for the November 4th regular meeting of the Glendale Oversight Board was posted on Friday, October 30th on the bulletin board outside City Hall. And at 2 is our approval of minutes for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2014, and September 23rd, 2015.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
The July 23rd, 2014 minutes will have to be carried over to the next board meeting, given the folks that attended, but the September 23rd, 2015 can be approved given the representation today.
A motion for 23rd? Roll call, please.
Board members Abkarian? Yes. Barry?
Yes.
McIntyre? Nakasone?
Yes.
Ochoa?
Aye.
Steger? And Chair Raggio.
Yes.
Make a note.
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
Second.
All right. Next item, please.
Take another vote. Okay. So at 4A, we have Director of Community Development regarding amended and restated agreement for allocation of tax increment funds for the San Fernando Road Corridor Redevelopment Project. At 4A1, Oversight Board Resolution approving amended and restated agreement subject to the approval of the County of Los Angeles Board of Supervisors, Los Angeles County Office of Education, and State Department of Finance.
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. This action in front of you is approval of a amended and restated tax sharing agreement. I'll give a little bit of background and explain how we got to where we are today. So in 1993, right after the San Fernando redevelopment project area was created, an agreement, a pass-through tax sharing agreement to pass some of the increment over to the county, and the set percentage was 55%. So for 7 years, redevelopment agency collected tax increment from the San Fernando project area, passed it over to the county. Then in 2000, at the same time that the large Disney development project was taking place, there was discussion about taking some of that increment that was generated from the San Fernando Road project area and with agreement from the county, passing 60% of the 55% back to Glendale to build some regional public improvements. And the idea was that those regional improvements would be of benefit to the entire county and not just Glendale. So from 2000 on, that took place. So for every dollar that was passed through to the county passed back 60% of the 55% they received. And Glendale Redevelopment Agency, along with the Finance Department, kept track of the dollars, and the city's Public Works Department implemented the construction projects. Then came 2012 and the redevelopment dissolution process, which complicated this unique tax sharing agreement because it forced us to take the revenues and the expenditures and fit them into the ROPS process. Given these were construction projects, oftentimes the ROPS was looking 8 to 9 months in advance, and it was difficult to estimate what costs would be when we didn't even have bid documents prepared. So in consultation with the state and Los Angeles County, there was agreement to pass the administrative duties of this agreement over to the city to implement. And this was blessed by the Department of Finance because they did a very thorough audit of all of the cash in possession of the redevelopment agency, and this funding source, which is segregated in its own account, was deemed legally restricted and can only be spent on those projects. So it wasn't available cash that could be distributed to the taxing entities represented by you folks. So at this point, we are asking you to approve an agreement which would pass the administration over to the city, same funding. We would report to the county annually, as we have been since the initiation of this agreement. And your resolution is subject to the approval of the County Board of Supervisors. So although we've been working at a staff level, the county board must also approve this. So if you were to approve this, we would wait for the County Board of Supervisors to also approve this, then send this over to the State Department of Finance for approval.
Questions? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Board members Abkarian.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
McIntyre. Nakasone.
Yes.
Ochoa.
Yes.
Steger. And Chair Raggio.
Yes. Action approved. Next item, please.
At 4B, we have Director of Community Development regarding loan agreement between the city and the agency for litigation costs. At B1, Oversight Board resolution approving the loan agreement between the City of Glendale and the Successor Agency for litigation costs.
Chair and board members, the second item is approval of a loan agreement. The purpose of this loan agreement is, with the passage of Senate Bill 107, litigation costs were redefined as going from previously an enforceable obligation that can be placed on an agency's ROPS to now being captured in the administrative budget of the agency. And so what we're asking the board to do today is a proactive effort, and if we were to be successful in our second lawsuit against the State Department of Finance, what this does is set all of the documentation so that we can prove up to the State Department of Finance that the City of Glendale loaned the Successor Agency $100,000 to litigate, and if we're successful, then we are able to put this on a future ROPS, get that money recouped, and so pay back the city. If we are not successful, then it is treated as a grant, and that we will not be able to place this on our ROPS for recouping. So.
But either way, there's no loss. If it's a grant, it replaces.
The liability fund of the city would be out $100,000. And so this is an effort to use the most restrictive funding source, because the city's liability fund can fund numerous liability efforts in any department. But this lawsuit is specific to the Successor Agency, and this is a more restrictive funding source. This is our opportunity to use that funding source if we are successful.
Thank you.
$1 million. That's the city's loan. Good return on investment for us. Yeah, if we can, I guess we're supposed to be in January is when we would move to litigate in the same courtroom, same judge as our first successful lawsuit. We're hopeful that based on the language of the dissolution cleanup law, that the DOF will ultimately retreat and acknowledge that we have a carve out on the interest rate, which we've already won. And the language of the statute says that those loans already approved by DOF, which our loans have been approved by DOF, would hopefully moot their rejection of our of the $44 million. So we're hopeful. But we'll see. $100,000 could go a long way, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Further questions?
Yeah, I have one. Is the 100,000 for outside attorneys or city attorneys?
It would be for special counsel, is my, right? Yeah. It's Burke Williams.
Are we ready for a motion?
Yeah, move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Board members Abkarian.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
McIntyre. Nakasone.
Yes.
Ochoa.
Yes.
Steger. and Chair Raggio.
Yes. Motion approved. Next item, please.
At 5, we have oral communications. No cards were submitted. And at 6, we have board member and staff comments.
Board members and staff, comments?
Just looking forward, schedule-wise, we don't anticipate holding a meeting in the month of December. In January, we do plan on holding a special meeting, so rather than meeting the first Wednesday of the month, a special meeting for January the 20th. And the reason for that is, as part of this new dissolution trailer bill, the ROPS, which used to be approved twice a year in 6-month increments, will now go to an annual ROPS. So the state has moved up the due date to submit the ROPS to February 1st. So we have to have you convene in January to approve that, and it'll be an annual ROPS for fiscal year 16-17.
So we won't have a meeting until January 20th?
Unless something comes up, in which case we will be in contact.
Okay.
Well, in that case, let me be the first to thank you all and to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy.
Happy New Year. Oh,
We have no need for a closed session, do we? All right. And I think I'm going to consider this meeting to be adjourned. Thank you.